Alright, YouTube and Fallout community, so we knew it was going to happen eventually, and it is finally here. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. Now, before we get into this Bethesda.net article, let's talk about this box art. It's kind of trash, if I'm completely honest with you guys. In a different context, this art would be badass for something else. But we're talking about Fallout 4 here, and this has nothing to do with Fallout 4. It's just Vault Boy with, like, the kind of a silhouette, if you want to call it that, of a vault door behind him. That's all it is. Like, what does this have to do with Fallout 4? The Fallout 4 cover art had, you know, just a fucking power armor suit on it. If you look back at Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, like, Game of the Year Edition and Ultimate Edition for New Vegas, it's different box art, but it's similar. You know, it's something from the game. It's not just a fucking picture of Vault Boy. Like, I don't get it. At the very least, they could have just used a different set of power armor, like a different power armor helmet, for the cover of Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition, kind of like what Fallout 3 did. It had a Brotherhood of Steel like power armor suit on the original cover, and then for the Game of the Year Edition, it was the same thing, but it's like, you know, it's kind of a more body shot, and you see like the Brotherhood of Steel guy holding like a gun up. So like, it's different, but not too different. This is just weird. Return to the Wasteland on September 26th with Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition, with all the latest gameplay updates, including survival mode, graphical enhancements, the ability to play mods for free on PC and consoles, plus all official add-ons included. This is the ultimate way to experience the award-winning post-nuclear adventure from Bethesda Game Studios. Now, one thing I am kind of curious about with that little description there is they say that the Game of the Year Edition is going to have graphical enhancements. That's kind of interesting. I wonder to what degree do they mean graphical enhancements? Because, to be honest, Fallout 4 does not have bad graphics. I know a lot of people compared it to current generation games, and it doesn't really hold up compared to them, but it's a different kind of game. It's a lot bigger than some games are, so it can't really run those type of graphics. So I wonder how much better these graphics are going to be. I don't know. Winner of more than 200 Best of awards, including the 2016 BAFTA and 2016 DICE Game of the Year, Fallout 4 is the studio's most ambitious game yet. As the sole survivor of Vault 111, you enter a world destroyed by nuclear war. Every second is a fight for survival, and every choice is yours. Only you can rebuild and determine the fate of the wasteland. I like how they say every choice is ours. Like, there's really a whole lot of choices and things we could control in Fallout 4. The only real choices you had was which faction you're going to side with. You couldn't even really be a bad guy in this game up until the Nuclear World DLC, and it's really not even that bad. You just take over settlements as technically a bad guy. It's really, yeah, there's not a whole lot of choices in the game. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition includes the fully updated original game along with all 6 add-ons: Nuclear World, Vault Tech Workshop, Contraptions Workshop, Far Harbor, Wasteland Workshop, and Automatron. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition will be available on September 26th on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Be sure to reserve your copy in the upcoming weeks from select digital and physical retailers. To celebrate the Game of the Year Edition, Bethesda will release a limited quantity of Fallout 4 Game of the Year Pip-Boy Collector Editions, exclusively available in North America at select retailers. The Pip-Boy Edition includes Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition and will retail at $99.99 USD and will release on September 26th. So this is what we're working with right here for the Pip-Boy Game of the Year Edition. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but when the original Pip-Boy Edition released, that shit was like $200 if I'm not mistaken. I could be a little off on that, but I'm pretty sure it was about $200. How is this half the price? I know the game's, you know, the game's older, so the game's cheaper, but you're looking at the game with all of the DLC. You also get the pocket guide and the perk poster and the actual Pip-Boy. But how is it half the price? I'm not complaining. That's obviously good, because, you know, $100 isn't that crazy if you missed out on Pip-Boy originally. Plus, it's technically the Game of the Year edition, so that makes it a little more interesting, I guess. But it's just crazy that it's half the price of what the original one was, but it is a 2-year-old game. What it all comes down to is the price. We can reference the Pip-Boy edition. You're paying, $100 for that, so it's obviously going to be less than $100. My guess is you might, for the actual just Game of the Year edition, I could see Bethesda. We know how they've done it in the past. You can look at Skyrim SE. I'm thinking it's going to be a $60 game. If Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition ends up being less than $60, I will be flabbergasted. That's a word I don't ever fucking use. I will be impressed with Bethesda if they manage to sell Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition for less than $60. Fallout 4 currently goes for about $30, so it's really not that big a deal if it is $60, just because it's not that old of a game. It's not as old as Skyrim is. Skyrim was like a 6-year-old game and shit whenever Skyrim SE came out. But this is only a 2-year-old game, and it comes with all the DLC. And the DLC, Far Harbor, and Nuka World are worth the extra $30 that it would be. You know, $30 for the base game, and you're paying, you know, technically probably $30 for all the DLC. That's worth it to me, dude. Just those two alone. Like, obviously Contraption, Vault-Tec Workshop isn't that bad. Automatron's got a little bit of a story to it, but all the Contraption, the other Workshop DLCs aren't that interesting to me. But I think the extra $30, if it is $60, is worth it for at least Far Harbor and Nuka World. Now, me personally, I will never buy this. I have no reason to. I got the season pass when they first released it, and it was like $30. It was super fucking cheap. I got the game on release, and this is the only Fallout game where I've never started a second playthrough, other than survival mode, just to try it out, just to check it out. Other than survival mode, any gameplay you ever see me upload with, you know, videos or any live streams I've done of Fallout 4 has been the exact same playthrough since November 2015, since the game first dropped. I'm still on that playthrough, guys. So I will never buy this. I have no incentive to play Fallout 4 again from the beginning. I don't know what it is about Fallout 4. It just does not interest me. And other than like the graphical enhancements and all the updates and things like that the Game of the Year edition is offering, it's not offering anything new. So I have no incentive to want to get it because I already have everything it offers. This was actually brought to my attention by one of my followers on Twitter, JManchu. He tweeted at me, Mr. Matty Plays, the Lone Vault Wonder, and somebody else, I don't remember who, and he was upset about this, and after my first initial reaction, I was like, what the fuck? But then it's like, well, you kind of expected it, right? We all kind of expected this to happen. They released a, you know, Game of the Year edition, whatever. So, a version with all the DLC. They did this for Skyrim, they did it for Oblivion, which only had the Shivering Isles, if I'm not mistaken. They did it for Fallout 3, they did it for New Vegas. It was gonna happen eventually. I don't think Fallout 4 is a bad game to the point that they didn't need to do this, because it just makes sense. Like, you release DLC, one at a time, you know, a couple months apart, and then eventually you sell a version of the game that has all the DLC. I think just about every company does this. It's not that big a deal. Some people probably passed on Fallout 4, or they haven't played it yet, or haven't played all the DLCs, didn't get the season pass, whatever the case. Here's a way to play everything that Fallout 4 has to offer. I don't think it's that big a deal. It all comes down to price. Even if it's $60, I won't complain about it as much as I did with Skyrim SC, just because it's not as old as that, but I hope that it is less than 60, but let's be real, it probably won't be. Anyways, let me know your thoughts below on Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. I don't know why I haven't even speculated on this. We should have known this was coming eventually. Let me know your thoughts below on everything. What price do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be the $60? I bet most of you will probably agree with me on that. Anyways, guys, if you want to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Till it comes to conclusions, all the things that we thought we were losing. I'm a ghost and you know this. That's why we broke up in the first place. 'Cause I want you